Browns wrap up preparations for the Raiders. They travel there. We're going to play them on Sunday, 4:05 Eastern Time at Allegiant Stadium. And some good injury news today. David Njoku is going to play. Cam Robinson is going to play in this game. Myles Garrett missed practice with an illness, but he does not have a game designation, Mary Kay. So outside of Jack Conklin being questionable, things looking up for the Browns on the injury front for the most part.
They really are. When we got out to practice today, we were a little bit surprised to see that number 95 was not out there. As it turns out, he had an illness and he sat out the session, but he's not even, as you mentioned, on the injury report, meaning he's good to go. And that's great. We know that he's on a tear right now, and he needs 8 sacks to set that NFL single-season record. So we'll see if he can add to the pile a little bit this weekend. And then also, Dillon Gabriel was out there. He hasn't completely cleared from the concussion protocol yet, but he was back out there. That's a good sign. He's also ruled out for this game, but certainly having David Njoku back for this game will help Shedeur Sanders tremendously.
Yeah, and Ashley, Kevin mentioned, we know that the tight ends are always a great safety valve for a quarterback, especially a young quarterback. And, with Harold Fannin, David Njoku, even a guy like Blake Whiteheart or Brendan Bates, they're going to be able to figure out some safety valves for Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, they're big targets, and then obviously I think they're going to be huge, especially David, in the protection and the blocking part of the Browns' offensive scheme. And look, I think they are getting lucky with their facing the Raiders, a team that, hasn't done much outside of Max Crosby there, but I think that is still going to be really integral to keep him protected and, try to stop him from doing some of that attempted escaping out of the back of the pocket that he can be prone to.
Now, Mary Kay, you did mention it with Dillon Gabriel back at practice. Has not cleared the concussion protocol, so Bailey Zappi, of course, will be the backup in this game. But it does set up an interesting scenario. I know it's probably too early to look ahead to next week, but it does set up an interesting scenario potentially for the Browns after this football game, depending on how Shedeur Sanders plays.
It really does. And I think it's incumbent upon Shedeur Sanders to go out there and make sure that he earns himself another start. Because I think the continuity of playing a couple games in a row and trying to stack some things would be best for him. So we'll have to see how that goes. It all depends on how he performs. If he doesn't perform the way they need him to, then the opportunity will be there for them to go back to Dillon Gabriel. And I know they wanted to see more of him.
Yeah, Ashley, I don't know that it puts more pressure specifically on Shedeur Sanders, but if he plays well, if Dillon Gabriel's cleared from the concussion protocol, then we get to spend next week talking about this decision the Browns have to make.
Yeah, it'll potentially be shaping up for a fun debate, but I agree with Mary Kay, and Shedeur Sanders has been adamant about just waiting for his opportunity. He's obviously had to stay patient at the bottom of that quarterback depth chart. And now the opportunity is here. So this is your chance. It's your chance to make this start whatever you can and hope you can earn a second one. But I think the key to doing that is staying in the moment and just doing your job well while you're out there.
So let's spend a little more time on Myles Garrett, because this has it's been Carson Schlesinger week and Myles Garrett week. And today, Mary Kay, a lot of people talking about Myles, all week people talking about Myles. You mentioned it. He's only 8 sacks away from setting that record. Kevin Stefanski today talking about how he sometimes ruins practices. I think one of the things, even though no one is just coming out and saying it, I think people are kind of acknowledging that Myles has never played, especially just all around, has never played better than he is right now.
That's absolutely right. And Denzel Ward even acknowledged that yesterday when we talked to him. He thinks he's playing better than ever. I don't see how you can think that he's not. He's already at 15 sacks, one shy of his personal record, and there are still 7 games to go. So I really think he's going to get that record. Again, he needs 8 to get it, and I think that not only will he do everything in his power to get it, but I think the Browns will help see to it that he gets it by moving him around to favorable matchups and just making sure that he gets that 8. It would be something exciting and fun for them to take away from this season.
And still, they're saying that there's still more for Myles to do, Ashley. Jim Schwartz yesterday was talking about, there's still a lot of football left to be played.
Yeah, Kevin Stefanski echoed those comments too, again on Friday, saying there's still even more there. And I got to believe that record is one of the things they are talking about. And look, I think historically, you look at Myles Garrett's career, he's had some issues with tailing off at the end of seasons, and it'd be typically right around this time, even in that 2023 season, when they, of course, went to the playoffs and went to that wild card game. So he has an opportunity here to really keep that production going.
Okay. Browns at Raiders, 4:05 Eastern Time, Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Let's make our picks. Let's do a storyline for this game. Ashley, start us off with your storyline and your pick.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see if this Browns defensive line is going to be able to dominate. Geno Smith, the Raiders quarterback, he's been sacked 31 times this season. That's the fourth worst mark in the league. There's going to be opportunities there for Myles Garrett. I think some other guys too. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mason Graham get his first solo sack in this game. So that's the thing I'm watching, and I think this is going to be a weird game. I think the Browns defense has a chance to win it and end this 13-game losing streak. So I'm going to go Cleveland 12, Raiders 3.
Okay, I'm going to just echo what I said on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast and our preview edition. Who do I trust most in this game? It's not the Raiders offense or defense. It's not the Browns offense. It is the Browns defense, and I think that's going to be enough for them to win this game, to give Shedeur Sanders some short fields, give him some opportunities in the red zone, maybe even score on their own. So I'm also picking the Browns to end this long road game losing streak. I'm going to pick them, again, sort of a weird score, but I'm going to say Browns 16, Raiders 5. Mary Kay?
Well, it's going to be a clean sweep for the .comers, which can sometimes be trouble for us. But I do think that this team is really excited about Shedeur Sanders' first start. I think they're going to go out there. They're going to be very, very focused. They know that with a rookie quarterback, they have to play very well in all phases of the game and try to support him in every single way that they can. And once again, I think that the Browns defense is much better than the Raiders defense, even though the Raiders defense does some things well, including stopping the run. But I think that Myles is going to get after it. I think that he will come back from this illness with a vengeance. He'll probably get multiple sacks in this game. They've got 2 offensive linemen that are on injured reserve, the Raiders do. And so I just think it's going to be one of those games where they're not going to be able to get much done offensively. And I think the Browns are going to be able to do just enough. I also think that some of the points the Browns score will come courtesy of their defense, maybe not directly, but via a takeaway that lands them at the 9 or something like that. So I'm going Browns 20, Raiders 13.
Okay, there we go. Whatever happens in Las Vegas, we will be there. We will cover it all at cleveland.com/Browns.